Well, I'm a McLaren owner now, actually a two-time McLaren owner if you count my Pontiac Grand Am ASC McLaren Turbo. That doesn't really count, but just a recap. I've flown out to New Jersey, met the individual selling this car at the McLaren dealer, and it's my most expensive purchase yet. A 2012 McLaren MP4-12C, $105,000, and it's the most broken purchase yet. It has a bad transmission, unfortunately. Now, I didn't intend upon doing this. The seller was actually really nice. He wanted to take it to the McLaren dealer, get it serviced, and have everything 100% for me. But he also noticed a little noise coming from the transmission. He would shift and he'd hear a metal grinding noise. Turned out to be an internal failure of the transmission, and the car wasn't going to be ready for me anytime soon. They had a national shortage of transmissions. Yikes. So it's going to be a while before I get it, but thankfully it's not a big deal because the seller has an extended warranty on this car. Now, I might get the car sometime before Christmas. We'll see. They're building it in England. Once it gets here, it'll be pretty fast, but in the meantime, I just have to wait. All I got to do is a quick little test drive because this thing has no reverse and only goes into first gear. So I really have no idea what my car drives like, but it's pretty. So I'll get the car at some point and it'll be all fixed and I'll be super excited to drive it and tell you all about it. But in the meantime, it's just gonna have to wait. Now this warranty is getting transferred to me. It costs about $4,000 a year and it's well worth it. So I get to go home with an extra key, the title, and this mountain of paperwork this car has from the previous owner. He only had it for 2 years, and this car has paid out over $100,000 in warranty work. $100,000, and I'm not exaggerating. I don't have exact numbers because it's all no charges on the paperwork, but he did give me some ballpark estimates, the service manager inside. So let's step into my office and go through all of this. 2012 is the only year for the swipey doors. They did buttons after. You gotta kind of go deep and slow. Now, there we go. Oh yeah. Okay. I have to close this door really firm for it to actually close. And that wasn't hard enough. Oh, it was. Windows a little delay here. There we go. All right, inside this folder is the service history on this car. And if we go way, way back. Oh, God, the sun's shining on my face. Okay. I'm gonna have to scoot this thing because it's reflecting off a window here. Oh, this thing's lit up. Call McLaren Service Center, check engine, There we go. All right, that's a little better. All right, let's go over the service history, which is pretty fascinating for the past 2 years. And I'll try and go through it chronologically here. Starting with its first service in September 15th, 2016, shortly after he got the car, the engine needed cam phasers. Apparently the early engines had a lot of problems, so the entire engine, at least the top end, was torn down for cam phasers. On a Ford, they have those cam phaser problems with the 5.4 V8s, and it's a $3,000 or $4,000 job on a Ford 5.4 and like an F-150, so I can only imagine what it would be with the McLaren. He also had the key not work. They need to replace the batteries in the key, no big deal. But then next came one of the taillights. They don't function. It's an LED taillight, and it just suddenly broke. This is thousands of dollars for these taillights, so that was replaced under warranty right after he took delivery. The technician also noticed that the left front strut was leaking on this car. It's a hydraulic strut, a very advanced system. Kind of reminds me of the old Mercedes ABC system because it has no sway bars. It's all computer controlled, but obviously a lot more advanced. And that was replaced as well. On a Mercedes, that's a $1,200 strut. On a McLaren, I imagine it's double or more. So then he comes back in November. So we're talking September, October, November. He's had the car 2 months. He has to bring it back. And he says that he's noticing a lot of smoke at startup. And then he's saying a reverse light is in op. And then the reverse light turned out to be just it being unplugged, maybe from that tail light, maybe it was unplugged from the factory, who knows. And then a seat control was inoperative. They had to replace the seat switches, which I'm sure is expensive. And then he said, in addition to the smoke, the car's using a lot of oil, 1 quart every 1,000 miles or so, which is pretty serious. They didn't do anything about it in this ticket. They did later, I'll tell you about it. But they were going to keep checking on this. Also, the iris screen was not responsive. This touch screen right here in the middle, it wasn't doing anything. And they replaced that with the latest version. Apparently, the iris screen is a really expensive, thousands of dollars to do. So this is a big deal that this has been done on this car, and it's the latest version. So that was easily a $3,000 to $5,000 trip to the dealer, and it keeps going. The next one is quite a doozy here. Customer states check engine light came on, and customer says he's burned through 1.5 quarts of oil in approximately 550 miles. So finally, it looks like they investigate it. They remove the spark plugs. They find that oil is getting all over the spark plugs. There's metal flakes in the oil itself. They find cylinder scoring when they send a camera in there, and decide that it needs a new engine. A new engine on a car with, how many miles? 24,000 miles on it. And apparently, when the engine gets replaced on one of these, they don't make the old style of 12C engines anymore, so you basically get kind of like a 650S motor. So quite the upgrade here. Apparently engine failures are pretty uncommon is what the service advisor tells me, but if it happens, something like $70,000 for an engine in this car. $70,000, which was covered under warranty. Yeah, I know. Keeps going though. But wait, there's more. Another doozy. The customer hears a creaking noise over bumps. They said that it was just a piece that was sort of in the way and rubbing somewhere in the suspension. They were able to fix that, no problem. But then the previous owner noticed a spot of oil on the ground near the vehicle. Believed it's transmission fluid. They checked and the transmission was leaking, both from the top and the bottom. They cleaned it off, they applied a leak detector, and they found the leak coming from the right-hand side weep hole. They checked all the fittings to make sure they were tight, and they were tight. So apparently the only fix for this leak was a new transmission, which was installed at 28,195 miles in August 2017. So the engine and then the transmission, the current transmission that's in here, was already a replacement. And the transmission is apparently a lot more common of a failure on these cars, and that costs $30,000. So between the engine and transmission, that's $100,000. Now keep in mind, I'm at 32,000 miles now, and the transmission's already failed again. And then all the other little odds and ends, we're getting probably close to 150. This is the song that doesn't end. I've got one more. Apparently, the windshield washers weren't working properly. When you would hit them, it would also hit the headlight washers, even when you didn't need them. And apparently, something was installed backwards. They mixed up hoses, so they had to fix this little hiccup from the factory to have properly working windshield washer nozzles. And then it also states on this one, customer would like to extend his 1-year warranty, purchase another year. Yeah, you think? So then he had a pretty good year with this car. Only put about 4,000 miles on it. And now here we are again with another transmission. And he was kind enough to renew the warranty again for me for 1 year. So I have another year and unlimited mileage of warranty once I take delivery of this car. It's a hoopty. It's the most glorious hoopty ever of the modern supercars. It's awesome. I absolutely love this thing, and I can't even drive it yet. I'm already in love. My automotive masochism is off the charts because I get to deal with all these things, this finickiness, but then I don't have to worry. I just pay for that warranty. The only person crying about this purchase is probably the car wizard. Poor car wizard. Now I know some of you are thinking, wow, this car is awful, and you are a total moron for buying it, but really I'm not. Keep in mind, this was a very experimental car for McLaren, their first real production car that they made in big numbers, and it has a lot of amazing technology in here that you know, it's just gonna go wrong. They've definitely figured things out after a few years, and their cars are much more reliable now, but in the meantime, I get to enjoy this warranty. And apparently, this car is fantastic to drive. I don't know from personal experience, but I will. They're so smooth, quiet, and comfortable. And then when you want them to be a raging wild animal, it'll do that for you. So I'm very excited to own this car. And you got to realize McLaren has to subsidize this warranty somehow. Otherwise, this company would go out of business. So kudos to McLaren for taking care of their customers who plunged on these early cars and stood behind them for 12 years and 75,000 miles. That's a pretty generous warranty on a car like this. Really, even though you have to pay for it every year, $4,000 or so, it's fair. It's very fair. An unlimited mileage, bumper to bumper warranty. Doug DeMiro, and I get to enjoy this car. And really, don't kick McLaren in the pants too hard, because this is awesome. I am so excited to take delivery of this car for real in Kansas and be able to drive it. I'm really sad that I actually have to say goodbye to it now. Oh, goodbye, friend. We're gonna have a lot of fun together soon. Thank you for watching. All I want for Christmas is McLaren 12C. McLaren 12C. Thank you for watching.